Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of the most interesting people as well. And we've got one for you today. Tori Amos, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you, Alex.
Hey, listen, it's so nice to talk to you. I tell you why. I'm a wannabe musician and I love my piano and I love singing. I do both badly, but you, on the other hand, do it amazingly. And what I love about you is every song you seem to record is so different. How do you manage to do that?
Well, I listen to the muses and they sing to me. Sometimes it's not easy figuring out what they're trying to say. Sometimes it takes me months and months and months and months to complete a song, and it spans many countries, and you have to you have to hunt them down in a way. You've got to track them down, and they leave clues in different places. So it's quite a journey being with the muses.
I always ask the question, and I know you're a very spiritual person, so I kind of know where this is going to go, but I always ask, where does it come from? Do you believe it comes from a god, a person, a thing, or an aura? Where are you pulling from to do what you do?
Well, I don't pretend to know the answer to that. I think there's a creative force out there. I don't see it as a religious force. I see it as something more complex than that. No different than the world is created, stars are being created. I think there's information coming to us all the time. And where these voices come from, I can tell you, I'm not coming up with it by myself. I really am not. And so, literally, I'll be driving down the road in my truck, and all of a sudden, I'm getting, I don't know, could be 8 bars, music, lyric, perfect, finished. And I pull over so I don't forget it and write it down, and then I might not hear anything about that one for months and months and months, or I have to go on this adventure to figure out what in the world that story's about.
So you're sort of a medium of musicality then. These things come to you and then they finish when they're finished. There's no time or date, there's no way of knowing when it's going to be over.
That's correct. There is a collaboration that happens because once you get the initial seed planted, then they make you work for it. Then there's the crafting and the structural part where you start trying to figure out this clue, because you see a lot of it is given to you. If it's a 2-bar phrase, it's not a lot to go on. But if you get a whole verse or you get enough bars, a lot of the initial work is there. So then it's quite exciting because you could take it in many places.
When I interview comedians, I'll always ask them what's their favourite joke. So is there a favourite phrase you've written that you know is genius or as good as it's going to get, or are you forever learning?
Well, I think you hope that you're always, you're not just looking back. I look forward. I'm looking forward as a writer. If I spend too much time looking back, I think I could get trapped. You can get trapped in it and try and recreate something. That's not possible. That doesn't work for me. Copying a style or trying to chase something that's already happened organically. So it's about creating other experiences so that new thoughts can happen.
It's tricky that though, isn't it? Because as an artist you want to move on and write new material, but we fall in love with your songs and we want to hear them again and again. So how do you make that original when you're singing, I don't know, God for the 400th time or 1,000 Oceans, whatever song it may be? How do you keep it fresh so you don't get bored?
I do a backstage. I stand at the stage door in the afternoon almost every show before sound check. And people know that they can come and say hi and talk about stuff and give me letters, and a lot of influence happens there at the stage door, because you begin to hear people's experience with the songs, and all of a sudden they start to take on another life. It's almost as if a trap door opens up for you, and you begin to see another dimension to a song that you think you know very, very well, but all of a sudden you're approaching it from a fresh viewpoint. And then when you play it again, then that you imprint the song with that vision. And many people around the world have different relationships with the songs. And I think about those things as the years go by, and it makes a solar system around each song, if you see what I mean.
Seems to me your piano is some form of counselling for you. It seems to give you a sense of treatment. I watch the way you play it. You sort of play through it, if you know what I mean. There's a huge connection between your fingers and the keys. How important is it in your life? In the list of things, your daughter, your husband, your house, your money, your career, where would the piano come?
Well, I guess in a way, the piano is very core of my identity. And even if I never played a physical piano again, I think I process things as a piano player. That's the language that I've learned. That was the first language I came to understand. So I don't know if I can segregate myself from that idea, because it seems to be in every cell of my being.
And it's sort of an extension of you. When I listen through your back catalogue, as I've been doing today in preparation for our chat, and then listening to this new single, as I said earlier, what's amazing about you can sing pop, you can sing classical. There's sort of a touch of folk in this new single, Trouble's Lament, which is such a beautiful song. But fundamentally, what's amazing about your voice, you are a mezzo-soprano, you are a classically trained singer, aren't you? You know how to do it properly.
Well, I guess over the years I've experimented with different tones and different sounds and what a voice can do. And you begin to see the effects of when you place the voice in a certain way, the effect of that. And you also have to know what your instrument can't do. And then you wise up to that, and you realize that you don't take on things that compromise it. You take on things, you grow, you try and expand, but you begin to know what you can explore and what maybe you should leave alone.
So it's knowing your limitations, it's knowing where to stop, is it?
I think so. Knowing where to stop, and also knowing where to expand. Because there's always room to grow and try things, but you have to realize what your instrument is.
And also bringing your music to life. Your voice is so full of passion. It's so full of authenticity. I read your story. One of the things that intrigued me the most was your activism, your plight for humanity, really. You care a lot about people, and I think that's because you've lived a very interesting life. I notice your organisation, RAIN, means so much to you. You love to give back as much as to take from your audience, don't you?
I think the audience gives so much. They've given so much to me from the beginning, and there's been so many songs have been born because of the audience's willingness to share their experiences. RAIN came out of a situation whereby in 1994 we were touring, and a young girl had said to me, she fainted, and she said, "Can I please go with you and the crew? I'll work. I'll do anything." And she was, a young girl, 14, 15. And she said, "If I go home tonight, I'll I'll be raped again by my stepfather, like I was last night, like I will be for the rest of my life. And in that moment, you know, I thought, okay, I'm going to take her with me. And of course, as things have to happen like that, clear heads got on the line, and I was reminded by people that if I took her across state line, I'd get arrested for kidnapping because she was underage. So we had to send her back. And sending her back was just absolutely unacceptable. So hearing that story, there were some women at Atlantic Records at the time, great women, and other people that became part of a think tank to come up with RAIN, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, and that's been going since '94. And the good news is that it's still going, and the bad news is that we've had millions of calls. And so it's good that it's there. What it is, it's a phone service that connects people to already existing crisis centers that can talk to people.
I don't want to be a buzzkill, but when I listen to the words in songs like Crucify or Silent All These Years, and then I hear your story there, are you disappointed by humanity sometimes? Are you still shocked by what goes on behind closed doors? Because when you're involved with a charity like yours, there aren't going to be many laughs, are there?
No, there aren't laughs when it comes to the seriousness of how much of it is out there. Because we've advanced so much, haven't we, in so many ways, with computers and how far we've come. And yet, when it comes to how we treat each other, it does, unfortunately, it saddens and surprises me, the amount of people that go through this experience. And there are young people that come to the shows all the time. Women, young men, who have been traumatized as kids and teens from all kinds of areas, betrayed by people they trusted, and it's not letting up. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you there are less stories than there used to be, but there aren't.
What a gift, though, to bring this organisation to people and give your fans and people a way out, because at a time like that, I'm sure, as the case you talked about earlier, she was utterly desperate, and for there to be somewhere for people to go is a great relief, and I'm sure America's very grateful for what you've done.
Well, I have to thank people who come and tell the stories, because people that share their experiences, then they give us the, the determination, the understanding, the will to keep going, and to write more music that hopefully speaks to people. And then it does, there is a community out there of people that then start their own kind of online forums where people talk about their experiences. I've met people over the years that I met when they were teenagers, and now they are doing their own work in the community, really valuable, important work of healing about this subject.
God has certainly blessed your voice and kissed your chops. You have one of the most delicious voices I think I've ever heard, and one of the most mellifluous tones as well. This new single, Trouble's Lament, will be part of your new tour. We haven't even touched the sides today. I wish I was here in Nottingham, where you're coming to tour in May, but unfortunately I'm away for the month. But I'd love to catch up with you sometime, because you're so fascinating and such a wonderful life, and still living it. You're still current and present. Have you worked out how you've managed to do that you're still as relevant today as you were 20 years ago? That's not easy in show business, is it?
Well, maybe I had a failed record in the 80s, and sometimes, and I'm not being funny here, I think I realize now it was a blessing. And so for people out there who've had a failure, sometimes our failures are our greatest teachers. They show us all kinds of things, and it pointed me in the direction I needed to go in. If it had been a success, I don't think I'd be talking to you. I certainly wouldn't be talking to you today, because it would have taken a different path. And so the failure of that, which wasn't really an authentic path for me, I just took that path because people weren't open to the piano and the songs I'd been writing at the time, so I took that path. But then I got back to that path, and I had to fight for it. So I've had to fight, and I had to fight hard and not compromise. Therefore, I guess that's something that has stayed with me through my life, that you need to put the work first, the art first, and focus on that and be true to it. And if you're true to it, then you have that. That doesn't guarantee you anything. That doesn't guarantee you success, and it can be a bumpy road to success. But it does mean that you can wake up with yourself in the morning and say, I still have respect for the music that I'm writing, and I'm committed to that.
Well, you're utterly authentic. I thank you for your music because it is absolutely glorious. This new single is wonderful. You can hear it on tour. Trouble's Lament is the new single by Tori Amos. It's out now. You can get it on iTunes and other places. You're on tour throughout the UK. Some incredible dates to come. You're going to Dublin, Cork, Glasgow, Manchester, Birmingham, Nottingham and London. Your legacy, well, it speaks for itself. 8-time Grammy Award-winning nominated singer, songwriter, pianist, composer. And, of course, you've done the awards. You've done everything. You're on tour. People can find you. Have you got a website where they can Google you and find you?
Oh yeah, there's ToriAmos.com. You can find it. We're out there. Don't be a stranger.
I know. I'd love to meet up with you again and let's have a proper chat. 12 million records and still counting. Tori Amos, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.